This is my boss behind me here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? I'm Commissioner Richard Rothschild. I want to thank you for coming. I want to start by reading a portion of a letter I received today from Afghanistan, from a Carroll County citizen. It said, "Dear Mr. Rothschild, I applaud you for standing with supporters of the United States Constitution and hosting the forum tonight regarding the Second Amendment. County lawmakers and sheriffs have always been the last line of defense for the ordinary citizen from a government run amok. As I write, I'm on my 16th month in Afghanistan supporting our military in one of the harshest environments on the planet. However, I watch the news with amazement as I see our constitutional rights eroding in one of the harshest political environments our country has ever experienced. Although I will spend this day thousands of miles away from Carroll County, please know that this is one Marylander that supports your efforts in defense of our Second Amendment. Regards, Michael from Eldersburg, currently in Kandahar Province, Afghanistan." Ladies and gentlemen, if we have soldiers and civilians overseas fighting for our liberties, we have to remain diligent here domestically also, because there are threats on both fronts. The challenge facing our citizens and being tackled tonight by the Board of Commissioners is very, very difficult to address. Tonight, we are not here to defend guns. We are here to defend freedom. What should we do? Do we wait? Do we simply hope? I believe doing nothing is no longer an option. In fact, I would argue that doing nothing will be interpreted by those that wish to take our rights as acquiescence. The purpose of government is to protect our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and property given to us by God and is guaranteed in the United States Constitution. Now, some citizens mistakenly assume that their right to keep and bear arms comes from the Second Amendment, but that is incorrect. The right to keep and bear arms is assumed to be a natural right from God, and the Second Amendment is merely a restriction on government. It says to government, stay away. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Alexander Hamilton said, quote, "The Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms." Now, some people will argue government can infringe because the state does have reasonable powers of regulation. They say, even the right to free speech does not give you the rights to yell fire in a crowded movie theater. But they are wrong. The First Amendment does give you the right to yell fire in a crowded movie theater, but you will go to jail for abuse of that right. Trying to extend this metaphor to the Second Amendment is flawed. The current attacks on the Second Amendment are the equivalent of putting masking tape on the mouths of law-abiding citizens before they enter the movie theater. Proponents of unconstitutional infringement claim they want to protect us, and they have good intentions, but their intentions are no excuse. Daniel Webster said, quote, "Good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority. It is hardly too strong to say the Constitution was made to guard the people against the dangers of good intentions. There are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be masters nonetheless." Patrick Henry said, quote, "The Constitution is not an instrument for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government." Another interesting politician stated, quote, "As long as the government is perceived as working for the benefit of the children, the people will happily endure almost any curtailment of liberty and almost any deprivation." And that was Adolf Hitler in Mein Kampf. So why are we here? Maryland's former Attorney General wrote a 63-page proposal on steps to eliminate handgun ownership rights in Maryland. Now the latest gun ban outlaws 45 guns under the guise of protecting the public safety. The poster child gun for the current ban was arguably the AR-15, semi-automatic rifle, that was banned under the excuse of protecting the public safety. But there's a problem. There were 0 shootings in Maryland last year with AR-15s. So if the Maryland Firearms Safety Act can use public safety as a rubric to ban a gun that wasn't used in any crimes, imagine how easy it will be for them to use the same exact excuse next year to start banning guns that were actually used in crimes. The Constitution will not enforce itself. I want to say that again. It will not enforce itself. And clearly we have federal and state officials that are determined to pervert the role of government and do that which is prohibited. Folks, we can no longer live in a world of pretend and deny. The fact is the United States Constitution is under attack. Why did they do this? Well, because we let them. And in our efforts to be reasonable, we have proven we will tolerate intolerable infringements on our freedoms. And this has emboldened them to use hyper-democratic processes to take away rights. But we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. And in a constitutional republic, the majority has no authority to take away rights from the minority. And I'll tell you something else. There's no cavalry that's going to ride over the hill and save us. So clearly, local citizens and local elected officials have become our last line of defense against those who would steal our freedoms. Opponents suggest we have no power except that which Annapolis gives to us because counties are a creation of the state. I reject this line of reasoning. We are not appointed hatchet men or women for the state of Maryland. Because in America, no government is sovereign. It is we, the people, that retain all power. And as elected officials, we derive our powers from the consent of the governed, and that is you. You elected us, and we've heard you loud and clear, and that is why this Board of Commissioners is here tonight with our state's attorney, our sheriff, and other honored guests to talk about what we're going to do. So what do we do? Well, I find it interesting that some Maryland counties have declared themselves to be sanctuary counties for illegal immigration. It seems to me that we should be able to do something similar for a constitutional purpose. So tonight we have prepared a Second Amendment preservation resolution. It will declare Carroll to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county. The three branches of your county government are here tonight sharing common concerns. Your commissioners, your sheriff, and your state's attorney are determined to work together to use their individual and appropriate levels of discretion to uphold the Constitution. It is our goal to help protect you from blind prosecution under a law that seeks to criminalize you simply for exercising rights already protected by the Second Amendment. Thank you very much.